a contract with League One side Chesterfield in June. It's coming up to 23 minutes to 6 o'clock. The former BHS boss, Sir Philip Green, could be stripped of his knighthood next week as MPs are set to vote on the matter. It's believed to be the first time that MPs have ever debated a motion on whether to annul an honour. The motion has been put forward by the Conservative MP for Kempston and Bedford, Richard Fuller. And you may remember he and Sir Philip had a rather frosty encounter when the former BHS boss appeared in front of MPs to answer questions about the collapse of the retail giant back in June of this year.
Did you, sir, do you mind not looking at me like that all the time? It's really disturbing. Sorry? No, you just want to stare at me. It's just uncomfortable, that's all.
I wasn't quite just staring at you, but I don't wish to make you uncomfortable.
Sorry?
I don't wish to make you
uncomfortable. No, but I'm just
saying,
this is somebody else that's just uncomfortable sort of staring at me.
It's just astonishing. Let's talk to Richard Fuller this afternoon. Richard, good afternoon to you.
Hello, Roberto.
Richard, why have you decided to put this motion forward now?
Well, we're putting forward the motion is about our review. It was a very long review, as you know, lots of hours of evidence in person and thousands of pages of written evidence. But members of Parliament who weren't on those two committees, and only 20 of us, have never had a chance to express their views about the sale of BHS and the collapse of BHS and the impact it's had on their constituents. As part of that, I think it's fair for the House of Commons to take a view about whether it's appropriate for Philip Green, who received his knighthood specifically for services to retailing, should continue to carry that honour. We can't take it away from him, but we can send a clear message to the committee that determines that we think he should or should not keep his knighthood.
Richard, apart from that frosty exchange from his behalf, not yours, but from me, the fact that he didn't want you to stare at him for some strange reason, some time has passed. He's had a nice summer, thank you very much, on that now infamous yacht. It is up to him to come forward and put things right. Has he done so?
Not as yet. And as you say, he's had a nice summer, but the people who worked at British Home Stores here in Bedford, they have been given their notice. The pensioners who probably worked in that store since I was a kid, dedicated many years. Their pension now is with the Pensions Protection Fund. There may be reductions in their pension as a result. And of course, all of us as taxpayers, those who are taxpayers, will be facing a potential bill from the fact that British Home Stores has gone bust with all this money owing. So that's the reality for BHS employees, pensioners, and just taxpayers here in Bedford. So Philip's had his time receiving his yacht, thinking about what he's going to do, but as yet we have nothing from him in tangible terms about how he's going to settle, what he's going to do to settle all those monies that are owed on the pension fund.
Some people will question about what Sir Philip could have done to save BHS. He was not the owner of the company when the company went bust.
No, he wasn't. He owned it for a long period of time. He took, as we found through the committee, took substantial amounts of money out, not from the business doing better, but taking out the reserve, the rainy day fund, precisely the sorts of money that should have been there to assist when things went bad. And that's really to the point. The point here is the knighthood that he has got is because of his services to retailing. MPs may decide that they don't want to express an opinion, and certainly we don't want to be held up ourselves as paragons of virtue, of course not. But there is a question here. Many people have lost their jobs. This award was for retailing. Is it right that he should continue to carry that honour, given the facts that we've seen through this parliamentary review in detail, the actions that he took when he was owner, the fact that he sold it to someone just for £1, but to someone who he knew to have been a bankrupt, to someone he knew had no experience of retail. He gave the company for £1, the livelihood of 11,000 people. That to me is not a good service for retailing. It's not appropriate that Sir Philip should continue to keep his honour.
Richard, thank you. The Conservative MP for Kempston and Bedford, Richard Fuller, has put forward this motion for MPs to vote on whether Sir Philip Green should be stripped of his knighthood. Well, joining me now is Mark Llewellyn-Slade. Mark is from Awards Intelligence. They help people navigate the applications when nominating businesses and colleagues for these recognitions. Mark, good afternoon to you.
Hi, Roberto.
Are you surprised that this will be debated by MPs?
Well, I think he'll be hung out to dry for the way he's handled the BHS fiasco, to be honest, Roberto. Although I don't believe he's legally obliged to plug the £500 million.
No, of course not, because he wasn't in charge. It wasn't his company, and
No.
he hasn't broken any laws. It's the moral aspect here.
Well, he did decide to sell the business to a man who had no retail track record whatsoever.
True, but he was advised. He was advised by leading city banks. I mean, everything is. I know it doesn't look right, but everything was done totally above board. That's the problem with the system we have.
Yeah, as I say, I don't think he's illegally obliged to do anything. In my view, Sir Philip had a moral responsibility to act responsibly. After all, around 11,000 staff lost their jobs. I mean, had he offered to give back some of the 400 or so million pounds he took in dividends to help sort the pension deficit, I don't think he'd be facing this vote on the 20th.
Mark, the MPs will debate this next week. You said that he's going to be hung out to dry. The indication is to be that they will try to make an example of him because he was awarded this honour for services to retail industry. How rare is it for someone to be stripped of their knighthood?
Oh, it's fairly unusual. I think 114 people in the last 100 years have had their honour taken away. So you've got people like jockey Lester Piggott, who was stripped of his OBE back in, I think it was 87, for tax fraud. Then there was the Bank of Scotland guy, Fred Goodwin, for his role in the bank's near collapse. There's James Cosby, the Halifax bank boss, who was stripped for the way he ran the bank.
How does it work, Mark? I mean, I presume you're giving some sort of medal for. Do you have to give them? Do you have to go back to the palace and return it all in a good condition?
Well, it's down to a group of people called the Honours Forfeiture Committee, quite a mouthful, and there are two black and white reasons why someone could be stripped of their honour, although the overriding question, if you like, here is, has Philip Green brought the honour system into disrepute? Now, the first reason someone could be stripped of their gong is if they were sent to prison for at least 3 months for a criminal offence. And secondly, if they were censored or struck off by a professional or regulatory body for something kind of directly relevant to their honour. So, given that Philip Green received his knighthood for services to the retail industry and has had his knuckles rapped by an official parliamentary inquiry for his conduct, and that was directly relevant to the honour, he could in theory lose it. And I think that what this vote is going to lead to is the Honours Forfeiture Committee potentially saying, hand it back, please.
It'd be hugely embarrassing.
Absolutely. He won't want to be in that gang with the likes of Lester Piggott and Stuart Hall and the like. And I doubt he'll want to lose the title of Sir, and I doubt his wife will want to lose the title of Lady that goes with it. I think these are things that money can't buy. And when you've got billions like Sir Philip, you tend to want the things money can't buy. And a lot of this has come to light because of the way he's handled himself. I mean, back in the summer when the BHS closure came to light, instead of lying low, he headed straight for his £100 million yacht, sailed round Europe, moored his boat a few metres from the water's edge in front of the world's media. I
think it's fair to say, in terms of PR, he's not been best advised.
I have to say he's had terrible advice, or he's had good advice but ignored it. I mean, I'm sure he steers his own ship, as it were, his own super yacht, and doesn't always listen to his learned advisors. I can't believe his PR people were so naive as to say, rather than go and find a little cottage in the country and lie low for a couple of weeks and have a summer break, go on your £1 million super yacht, but also make sure you moor it within full view of Sky, BBC and the world's media so that they can hang around.